Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good afternoon or a good evening for all the folks who are joining us from around the globe. Super excited to have you here for our webinars. Today's session is something that has been close to my heart for a very long time. As a startup, how does one build delightful customer support from day zero? We will be looking and exploring and answering questions such as, can you automate support 100%? Is it even possible? Can AI and human work together? Is support essentially an operational cost-centering function? And can support enable business goals? My name is Siddharth, and I'm super excited to be a moderator for today. I have with me two folks who I have immense respect for in this field: Gaurav Singh, who is the founder and CEO of Whirloop, and Deepak Singh, who is the head of product at Whirloop. Before we start, a simple housekeeping rule. I would request you to participate in the discussion by submitting your questions using the panel. And with that, let's get started. So, panelists, are you ready?
Yes, Siddharth.
All right, let's do this then. So Gaurav, let's cut to the chase. I'm sure our audience would be keen on knowing this too. Could you quickly tell us what exactly is the Whirloop for Startup program and what was your thought process behind this?
Sure. Before I do that, I'll just also, for everyone, quickly introduce myself. Hey everyone, pleasure to have you here today, and welcome to Whirloop's webinar. Thanks for joining. I'm Gaurav, founder and CEO of Whirloop. We started about 3.5 years back, and the idea was that we'll help businesses scale their customer support and customer engagement over chat and help them deliver more delightful and personalized support experiences 24/7. And so when we started doing that, now answering the question on what Whirloop for Startups is. So when we started doing that, what we at that moment saw was that the most of the value which we were adding as a business was mostly to the large accounts, because the volume of conversations which they had was super high, and the repeat number of queries which were coming used to be quite high for us to deliver an impact. But over the period of time and working with some of the biggest e-commerce companies in India, some of the biggest travel and airline companies across the globe, we were able to build super good machine learning models. And now we are in a situation where even for startups or smaller businesses who have lesser number of conversations right now, they can use Whirloop and start utilizing the platform to deliver 24/7 customer support, and that too very personalized and very contextual, something which if you will go and try doing in any other way starts getting quite complicated and expensive. But so that's one thing which comes on how we add value for startups. So now startups can use Whirloop's platform, which has been built for enterprises, has been built for scale, is super secure, and works across the channels like web, app, WhatsApp. Basically, wherever your customers are, you can just go and start delivering support. Now you can use it at a it's like we want to give back to the community. So at a much more substantial discount, say something around 80% or so, like you folks coin. At that, they can use it. With this, we also pair unlimited usage of WhatsApp as a platform. Of course, template messages are separate, but they can use WhatsApp free for life. Hey, is my voice distorted? I get a message. Am I getting I have got a message that the voice is distorted. Is it clear, Siddharth? At least for Siddharth?
It's clear to me.
Okay. Cool. So the idea, so in Whirloop for Startup, what we are doing is you get access to Whirloop's platform for 7,500 conversations per month, which I believe is quite significant. At the same time, you also have access to WhatsApp, which is free for life. You can use it for as long as you want, and there is no additional cost. Usually it becomes a quite expensive thing. And the rest of the channels are also baked in. Along with that, what we also do is we are adding, because one of the key challenges which we as a startup faced was also that we always used to be resource crunched because there are developers and they are working on the core functions of the business, right? So we also will help the businesses onboard, get them integrated, and so that they can onboard and go live quickly. And that's also a major problem in terms of that you don't need to spend your resources. We know we have been doing it for the last 3-4 years. We understand how to do it best. We have a lot of learnings which we are willing to share with the startups so that they can be 24/7 available and are very quickly able to connect with customers deeply and personally. And when those in the early days, those relationships are formed in which you have the customers becoming your champions and the word of mouth running, it starts helping. So essentially, now we are that we have grown a bit. We want to give back to the companies who are starting and help them make more champions and help them grow their businesses faster. So that's how I see Verloop for startup, apart from all the technicalities and numbers which are there. Sid, you're not audible.
Sorry, so sorry. I just want to hold you there for a minute more. I want to talk to you about how can customer support make or break a business, and I think it's a costly mistake if it's not done right.
Correct. So it's kind of funny because we wanted to be in the business of customer support, and we did this mistake as well, where we believe that, I mean, not we, I mean, I should say, I believe that somehow I can scale myself and be able to automate customer support and give great experience to all the businesses. But as your businesses grow, and as all of us, I mean, because all the focus is always on growth, sometimes the customer support becomes an afterthought. Now, what happens is, while we are acquiring a lot of customers, churn is also high, and every lost customer, in my opinion, is worth 3 times more than every customer which we gain, right? Because I mean, retention is always cheaper than acquisition. So for businesses, what needs to happen on how they can, why they should do it is, in my opinion, no-brainer. Because it's just so much more critical to have the retention. And plus, I mean, if any of you are in the SaaS business, what just your acquisition net addition doesn't matter. I mean, you also need to look at NRRs, which are net revenue retention, right? I mean, it always has to be more than 100%. So it's very, very critical to have those early champions who are willing to bet for you, who are willing to stand for you, give that critical feedback. So always be very close to customers. Putting that email with a 24-hour tag is probably not the right thing to do in the current age of WhatsApps and Signals and Telegrams. So you want to be available all the time. At the same time, you want to be able to scale that function. And these two don't go well together if you don't automate it at the right time. So use a channel in which you are close to customers. I'll not say it's WhatsApp. I'll say wherever your customers are, just be present there, be connected with them, and touch them as many times as you can in the early days, because that critical feedback becomes important. So be very close to them. No friction communication is how we call it now within companies. So yeah, that's how, in my opinion, you should be doing it. And for that, you will definitely need a platform. Connect with them, reach out, and be able to scale it. Because today you'll start alone, and then you will have 2, 3, 4, 5 more people. You can't have 5 numbers. So doing it right, doing it early builds that discipline. So that, I mean, as you grow, the base is strong.
Got it. Got it. No friction communication, right? That was the key takeaway there. All right. Coming to you, Deepak. A few words about yourself.
Cool. I take care of stand-ups at Verloop. Jokes apart, I take care of product at Verloop. Lucky to be part of such an amazing team, working with Sid and Gaurav. I come with some B2B experience in product management at Belong. It was another startup. So I think I've seen this space for around about like good 6 years now. And the best part is working with startups, you get to know their challenges and problems, and you see that in a daily life. So yeah, definitely excited about this program, because this is where, as Gaurav rightly said, we try to give back to the community as much as we can.
All right. So Deepak, from your experience and that you have crafted automated solutions, tell us more about some of the key challenges that Verloop.io can help solve startups on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. So to understand the key challenges of a startup, we must first understand like how startups are. Unlike traditional companies, startups scale very fast, and we have in India itself seen examples of startups that have scaled to 1,000% per year in terms of users, revenues, or whatever metric you measure them by. And the scale can be just massive. So you're growing at a lightning pace, and this is very different from traditional companies. Second difference is that a lot of startups that we see are definitely global from day one, be it a cryptocurrency trading startup or maybe a cross-border e-commerce company. So they are global from day one. Third is that startups are also on short on resources, and let's be honest about it, we don't have unlimited funding, or we don't basically have a market where we can raise money from like the traditional markets of stocks, etc. So we are short on funding and resources as well. Now these three factors make it very challenging for any startup to scale support. Hence, the challenges of a startup are very unique in nature, and traditional support models, which work like an operations function, may not fit the bill. So, to give you an example, let's say your startup within a year scales from 100,000 users to 10 million users. Now, traditional support teams, maybe you were handling it with 3 member support team. You cannot get a 300 member support team. That's just like uh, pointless, right? I mean, so you have to put in like tech into it, and that's where probably Verloop can add value. I One of the hottest topics going around these days is the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin market, which is just like I don't know, just bulldozing everything over, right? So let's take an example of a cryptocurrency trading platform, be it Binance, be it WazirX, or whatever, right? In last 3 months, I mean, the trading volumes have gone from probably 300 billion to 1.2 trillion dollars, etc. Now, just look at the traffic. It has just scaled so much that even if you have the money, you can't go hire those many support agents. It is impossible to hire so many. You have to probably acquire a company. On top, you are a trading platform, which is in cryptocurrency. So unlike stocks, your market is 24/7. You have customers sitting in Japan, customers sitting in Costa Rica, or any other geography, and the trading happens 24/7. Now, the need of support becomes 27. Not just that, you need to have a support system which people can understand in their native languages as well. Now, like, to be very honest, if you try to do this the traditional operational way, it becomes extremely difficult. Now, where Verloop can help is basically, I'll try to summarize it in a couple of points. Is one is you have quicker touch points and quicker turnaround times. For example, let's say your customer comes in and you're an e-commerce startup. Your customer starts shopping at maybe post their office hours at 11:30. You may not have your team available, but if you have a bot which is answering cross channel, then you can immediately answer most of the repeated queries. And what we've seen with our experience is startups can automate 70 to 90% of their support queries via just the bots. So you are being faster. You are also being available 24/7. So your customer is not left for a next business day, or NBD, how we typically call it in support language. And they get support immediately. Especially imagine if it is a critical function where they need support at, which is basically cart abandonment. They want to just check a quick query whether hey, if I get like, can I pay by this card, can I pay by this particular method, and you could lose the customer directly from that point. Definitely having a support a system which is slightly more agile, which is definitely answering them continuously and can happen 24/7, definitely helps. Third piece that I want to talk about is consistency across different platforms. One of the things that Verloop can allow you to do is have a similar set of like languages, similar set of tones happen, like basically going as customer solutions, sorry, support solutions across platform, across channel, across geography. Another thing that I want to add here is, as Gaurav mentioned, be where your customer is, whether it's WhatsApp, it's inside your app, it's iOS, Android, anything, or on web or your website, or WhatsApp or Facebook or other WeChat kind of channel as well. So you are present across, and hence you're not losing on customers, whichever platform they are coming from. Even your human support teams will become faster. The Verloop UI allows the teams to actually gather context from different systems. So your agent is not running across different platforms. They're not going searching their CRMs or your order management system to find data. In fact, what Verloop allows you to do is, with a certain set of features, is quickly pull data via webhook calls and show you that customer's data directly upfront on a single screen. And that reduces a lot of time, by the way. Whenever we do some user research, when we speak about this, users love this feature specifically. Another bit I want to add, obviously, as a startup, you definitely want to measure whatever you're doing. Every bit of effort from whatever team it is, you definitely want to see what is changing. And what Verloop allows you to do is not just provide all of this, but also give you a quick overview of what's happening, real time as well as trendline view, along with some critical insights as to what our customers asking, and you can see all of that in a single platform. So essentially, your startup may scale non-linearly, but your support function does not need to. And your customer support can become DIY from day one. Sid, if you give me a minute, I'll just quickly like to show a particular screen to just show you how data, etc., is shown on the platform.
I think that would be great for the audience.
Awesome. Let me try sharing my screen. 1 second. Okay. I think the host needs to enable screen sharing.
Just hold on, we'll get you that.
Sure. Sid, if it's taking time, I can come back again, and at a later point, I can show a quick snapshot of the platform.
Sure. In the meanwhile, why don't we take a question up, right? While we are doing this, one question that came to us, and I think Gaurav, this is something that you would be able to answer best. How do you help early stage startup who have less of funds to invest?
So, very good question. Thanks for asking. Right. In terms of how we help early stage startups who have less of funds to invest, that's exactly why we started Verloop for startups, right? Where we understand, I mean, we acknowledge the fact that probably at this moment you don't have the kind of money which might be needed to otherwise pull in a cutting edge support like Verloop. I mean, an enterprise grade company like Verloop, but at the same time, the getting the love from the customers is the common need across the brands, large or small, right? So what we are trying to do with Verloop for startups is essentially bridge the gap where we know that all the businesses need to be there where the customer support experience is great. I mean, just because someone is in the early stage doesn't mean that they need to still remain with the age-old platforms and then keep using them and provide subpar support or log in extra hours to reach out, because when you are early stage, your attention is critical. I mean, we want you to be spending 100% of your time solving the core problem. At the same time, all the mundane tasks like automation and all of that, which takes energy. But I mean, while there is ROI because you are connected with customer, there is no ROI for spending time repeatedly answering the same query. So what we try to do with Verloop for startups is exactly same. We enable businesses deliver delightful support experiences at a much lower cost than what a traditional enterprise or a traditionally large account will be paying, and we try to subsidize that through us. Of course, there is a cost involved, but we try to keep it bare minimum so that it never becomes a point where the cost stops a business from delivering a great experience to their customers. So my advice to you will be, I mean, probably at the end of the call, just drop us a mail and let us take care of it. We will do everything that we can to ensure that your customers are getting the best from your business.
Got it. I hope that answered the question. Deepak, can you try sharing your screen now? You are on.
Yeah, trying right away. Hi, is my screen visible?
Yes, Deepak.
Awesome. I don't know. Maybe I think some latency in my system. If you can see my screen, I hope everyone can see that. This is a quick dashboard that you can like navigate through and see metrics as we spoke about, from CSAT to incoming chats and how they are closed at what efficiency, and how does the bot help you resolve some of them. So bot on day one maybe 25%, but On day 7, it might be 27%. Similarly, you can see other traditional KPIs of how many incoming chats were there, what is the resolved chat number, what is the first response time in seconds, and what is the average response times. So you can see your all traditional metrics up here. Similarly, you can see different insights as to what different users are asking for and overall stats as well. And in terms of how the platform looks like, imagine you are basically going through a chat, your agent sees something like this, and they can quickly navigate through, add tags, see the past history, past chat, and directly chat with the end user in case they want to, in case the bot isn't able to like basically assist a customer. You can quickly find out quick information about where the customer is coming from, whether they're coming from WhatsApp or they're coming from web or your application, etc. All that information is directly shown to the your agent upfront. Cool. So that was a quick guide into like Whirlloop at the platform.
That was awesome. I was just looking at it again and again, and I was like, that is awesome. I mean, if this existed some 5 years back for B2C startups, I think we wouldn't have had the problem of emailing support and calling support. All right.
Yeah, sometimes we still do in the modern world as well.
All right. Gaurav, Deepak talked a lot about how Whirlloop can help you with quicker touch points, run support 24/7, communicate across and across omni-channel communication, integrate with tech stacks. But let's just take a step back from Whirlloop, right? How does a B2C brand evaluate a conversational support chatbot? And then let's talk about how Whirlloop is the perfect fit for these B2C brands.
Right. See, when it comes to evaluating a platform, right? I mean, this is irrespective of you are evaluating conversational automation or you're evaluating Whirlloop or not. Ideally, the right way to do it is you need to look at all the actors who are going to use it. I mean, all the different kind of people's different personas who are going to use it, and then look at what functions they need and how each of these is solving their problems, right? I mean, what features they need, what functions they need, and what will make their life easier, what their goals are. So if we will look at conversational support or automation, let's look at all the actors or personas which exist in this realm, right? So one becomes your end customer, which is like the end user of the end user who is going to use and reach out to you for customer support. Now, as an end user, what the person wants, the person wants to reach out to you with minimum friction. So what becomes critical is that how many channels are available, because some people might be more comfortable on WhatsApp. Others might not like WhatsApp at all and might have an app heavy usage in which they want to talk to you on app because they want to keep their conversations, personal and purchase life separate. The third person could be a very heavy Facebook user and wants to do it on Facebook. Or if someone is like me who spends most of the time on laptop, then I prefer to do everything on laptop. So I want to be on chat. So, and if you go expand beyond India and you go to say US or somewhere, then SMS and iMessages become critical. So one of the foremost important thing becomes how we can make the conversations as frictionless for a customer as possible. They shouldn't have to put a lot of effort to reach out to us. Because rest of the world is trying to make their life as effortless, frictionless as possible. Everything is available at a tap. You get more and more entertainment just by swiping up on TikTok, right? You don't have to search like you used to on YouTube. So as word goes more into frictionless support, I mean, frictionless usage and experiences, support needs to go towards that side. So first is how many channels are available and are they critical and do they matter in your geography? Like WeChat for India doesn't need to exist. Probably you will be solving for 0.01% of the people, but WhatsApp becomes critical. So based on your geography, channels become critical. At the same time, what also becomes critical is how good and how natural my conversations with the business can be. Because and here the languages and machine learning starts becoming critical. Because if you're going beyond tier 1 in India, if you go to tier 2s or tier 3s or beyond India, if you go to say Southeast Asia or Middle East, a lot of people are coming online now as more and more internet connectivity and mobile penetration gets going. As Reliance Jio came, and like I love to call these folks, I mean the Geo generation, right? Who have leapfrogged from the web as well as app, and they directly landed on conversational channels. Now they don't understand your app paradigms very well. They don't understand that there is an app onboarding which they need to look at and then remember, so that they know where the support buttons are. They have a problem, they want to talk to you, and when they talk, they don't want to tap your buttons. They just want to say, I have a problem. Now when they say it, the English might be all over the place if you're forcing them to talk in English, right? So you need to adopt their behaviors as much as you can. So maybe you want to talk in multiple languages. So is your platform supporting multiple languages? If the platform is supporting multiple languages, then more challenges come. Like if you're in the NCR region, English becomes very critical. Can I understand your Dil Mange more and still know that your heart is not looking for a peacock, but it's still about Pepsis or Cokes, right? So understanding languages becomes critical. So you look at end customer, it has to be as effortless and seamless possible. Part will be via channels, part will be via how smart your algorithms are. Then the other actor which comes or the persona is a program manager, someone who is gonna day in, day out look at your support function, who is gonna enable more and more conversations. So it could be a developer along with a product manager, or say a business owner if it's a small business, right? Like in the early days, founder ends up donning the hat of also the customer support or anything else for that matter, right? So mostly, but customer support relies with founders. So you can call it for small startups, it could be as founder. For slightly larger businesses, it could be a product manager along with a developer. Here you need to look at how easy the integrations are, because a lot of conversation, I was looking at that, hey, I have a WordPress website, can we use Whirloop there? There is a question which we'll take up in a while. But so how easy this integration is. If it's gonna take 10 days to just integrate on WordPress, then it's not worth my time, right? I mean, I'll spend that time with my customers anyway. So how easy that front-end integrations are, how easy back-end integrations are. If I already use, say, Zendesk, or I already use any other CRM system, how seamless my integrations could be. So integrations become critical. After that, like Deepak was mentioning, data starts becoming very critical. So how good the dashboarding details are. Can I drill down and know everything that happened on my platform without going into every single chat and go and just read through all those chats, right? So can I get crux of it so that I'm saving the time but I'm still on top of all of these things. At the same time, how easy it is to add more workflows, because tomorrow if you're running a sale or you are launching a new feature, right? Because in the early days of startups, it's also fun how soon you can launch the features. As we grow, things, slow down a bit for more predictability, but early days, move fast, break things is okay. So when you're doing that, you also need to keep your support functions in sync with those. When you launch a new feature, you are expecting some support tickets, so you want to be present there. So how less time this is taking. So how easy and less time consuming, or how little brain cycles I need to spend to be able to constantly upgrade my bot becomes critical. And then on the third side are the end chat support agents. These are the warm bodies who are sitting and responding to the queries when bot is not able to answer. The traditional customer support people. Here, the experience needs to be seamless, because these folks are optimized for fast response time, FRTs, and low average handling time. When these two are good, after bot has, let's say bot was not able to answer it and it went to human support agent, the support becomes seamless. So how good and how easy I have made it for my customer support agents to connect with my people, how contextual I have been able to do it. A lot of customer support time is actually spent switching through the tabs, because half of the data is available on CRM, rest half is available on my proprietary admin dashboard, which I have built, and rest half could be available on, say, Zendesk. Now they need to stitch all of it and then come back and respond to customer. Can I make it seamless? Can the system integrate all of this into one? so that they don't need to move around and they are able to do it right there. Right? So this is the third kind of person who comes in. As you grow, it starts evolving and becoming more critical, more complex, because now they are not just agents, they are managers and managers as well, and they are optimized for different KPIs. But in the early days, I'll say these are the three kind of people we need to look at and optimize for each of those. Now, what we at Verloop have tried to do is that we have tried optimizing for each of these. Like machine learning for end user is super smooth. They can speak in any language of their choice, including mixed languages, and we understand what's going on there. We are able to contextually respond. They can even record their conversations on WhatsApp, which I have seen as an increasing trend across the regions. People record it and send it. So they can record it and send it, and we will still be able to understand what the conversation is about and respond to people. At the same time, channels are available. For the admin side, to build more bots, it's as simple as drag and drop. Just drag and drop, make some minor edits here and there. You want to add something, APIs are public, just go ahead and understand that. Machine learning has been tried to be all the complexities. Deepak and team has spent a lot of time ensuring that while the ML is powerful, you don't need to deal with all of the complexities, right? Like in machine learning board, when I ask your name, it's not always the name that I get. I'll ask your name and you might not always say Siddharth, right? You might say, my name is Siddharth, or you might say, get lost. Now, get lost is not your name. We need to understand it. So all these complexities have already been built in and have been trained so that you don't need to do or care about it. At the same time, agent interfaces are very smooth. We have constantly increased. In fact, in the last 2 quarters, we have been able to increase our agent NPS by 4x. So a lot of time is given there. So while you are, those are the pointers at which you should look at. I'm sure when you will compare, it's always the Verloop which will stand out because we have spent a lot of heart in the last 4 years doing it. As well as what we also benefit from the fact is that we were a B2C company before, where we used to run a 100 people call center. Trying to solve problems for people. So it's not that this is something which we dream about and then we try to do it. We have faced these problems. So most of the things which we build here, we already know that these have been the problems, because I personally used to run a 100 people floor. So these problems we have understood, and that's how we have baked these into it. So it gets very, very intuitive, and none of the features are there because they need to be. They are there because they solve the problems.
When you talked about the running a 100 team call center, it reminds me of my days when I ran a 40-member call center to generate leads for marketing. So
it was a nightmare, but probably it's reserved for some other day.
Wild.
But super good learnings.
Yes, definitely. All right. Deepak, now that we've talked about how Verloop could be a great choice, could you share with us a little about what support metrics or customer support metrics will be impacted when a startup implements Verloop.io?
Got it. So let's understand, even before going into metrics specifically, I just want to talk about how support is as a function, right? Like any other function, if you run sales, you talk about funnels. If you run marketing, you talk about funnels. Similarly, support is also a very simple funnel. Like all other business functions, we end up at a funnel, we draw it. A query comes in, how many get resolved, how many get auto closed, how many basically do not get resolved and they get escalated. So essentially, you are looking at a funnel, and when you are looking at a funnel, 3 things matter most. One is how fast the funnel moves, which is, and the second bit is how much the funnel moves, which is the volumes. Third bit is how well it moves, or the quality of it. Let's take an example. Let's take each of them individually. One is the speed. When we talk about speed, 2 traditional metrics which are there have been in the support industry forever: AHT and FRT, average handling time, and first response time. I call them classic support metrics. Wherever you go, whichever platform you'll use, you'll definitely see those. What they tell you is simply 2 very simple concepts. When was the first touch point with the customer? I ask you, hey, how can I make a payment on your platform? The bot immediately responds. So the immediate effect is, instead of a traditional support function, you are responding at a much faster pace. Also, since bot handles or deflects or resolves majority of the queries, What you're also looking at is a much better AHT, or an average handling time. Your bot will answer queries, majority of the repeated queries, while only humans will only answer queries which are more complex and might require a larger time. So this increases the speed bit of the funnel we were talking about. So AHT and FRT definitely have a immediate impact. Even with the Whirlloop live chat platform that I showed you, some of the features such as our canned response, auto tagging, closing, segmenting the queries that are coming in, all those actually not just help the bot, but are also to help the agents, human agents, which will basically be like answering these queries. And as Gaurav mentioned, and we talked about how switching tabs between a CRM and your support platform also takes up majority of the queries. What Whirlloop is doing is integrating all of those data points into a single system. Again, you finally your AHT and FRT get impacted, not just from, to summarize, not just from a bot perspective, but also from a human agent perspective. So that's one, which is speed. Second bit is volume. I would like to take an example here. If we all remember, I think it was my birthday, 9th of November, when Modi ji announced demonetization. Payment systems or fintech startups in India all went mad. The volumes were just like crazy. I mean, I don't, like I haven't seen any numbers of startups publishing the number of DAUs that they hit, but DAUs are a great part of it. The bad part of it, support scales at exactly a similar multiplier, which might be like say 10% of your users need support. But if your startup has grown suddenly overnight at a 1000% speed, then imagine the volumes that you are hitting. And no matter what money you throw at the problem, no matter which human you throw at the problem, it is impossible for you to support your incoming or the new acquired users. And acquired users, if they don't get activated or they don't get a great engagement on the platform, they will churn. And that's what people saw. A lot of audience came in, but majority of it churned overnight. But what if you could have a system which scales automatically? And that's where basically automated or customer support automation comes in. And what we've seen with some or actually a lot of our clients is that you can reduce up to 60 to 80% of the queries depending on the type of industry, type of responses that you cater to, without needing a human interface. Now like that would only like boil down to that. In that example, that you probably need to hire 10 more support agents to help with a 10x volume increase, because majority of the queries bot can handle. So that's the second bit, volume. Third bit is quality. Now in our startup world, we measure it as NPS. In the traditional setup, every conversation that gets closed, you record a CSAT of that, or a customer satisfaction score, which basically tells you how consistent your like responses were, how personalized the responses were, or did they solve the customer problem or not, or how fast they were. This gets impacted like a lot, especially from an agent side. We see a lot of positive impact on there. In fact, even the bot has a very high customer satisfaction score. To give you an example, one of our leading like travel company clients has a bot which has a CSAT score within the 90th percentile of a human agent. Now, that is something that's basically like as close as possible. Like bots can come up to, at least with the current technologies we have. I'm sure at some point, tough to say, maybe 99% might also be possible. Uh, Third bit, so basically the fourth bit is what I want to talk about is the cost. Now, all of this, as we spoke about, imagine the demonetization example. The only way to support it without technology is to actually like acquire a support company or acquire a call center. Now, what Whirlloop allows you to do is have cost at a much better ratio as your like DAUs or your average activity on the platform increases. So a large percentage of queries get answered by bot in a faster time span, and hence startups that see a lot of scale don't need to scale their customer support function. So the four things I talked about. The fifth thing I want to talk about is why and what impacts can we see for the product team, because being a product manager, there's something close to my heart. Support is important, as important any other function in the company. One thing you want to drive from day one is DIY behavior, especially for consumer startups, because you can't be answering questions on the call all the time. Having an automated support system or a like basically like delivers do-it-yourself behavior, even from a small scale. And as you scale, your customers get used to it. The second bit for product teams is while we are chatting with on different platforms or we are getting voice data, all that is generating so much data for your product team, and you can actually query the data from the platform itself. You can see what kind of queries people are asking to solve for bugs, even get ideas for new features, and make existing improvements in existing features. So just to summarize everything, there is obviously the funnel angle, faster resolution, better CSAT, lower cost, and handling any volume, any kind of volume. And finally, a lot of huge data store to act upon for your product teams.
Got it, Deepak. So like you said, velocity, volume, and quality, right? Focused on this.
Yep.
Great
And
stuff. And a lot of data. Yes. All right. This is a super insightful discussion we're having, and I can go on for like an hour more, but I have to respect the time the attendees have given us. So one last question, and this is to both of you, Gaurav and Deepak. What is a great takeaway that you could tell us, how customers are going to benefit from Whirlloop.io, and how does Whirlloop.io help you tie back to a business goal?
Great. So in terms of how customers can use and grow using Whirlloop.io, the way I'll see it is growth for me happens in two parts. First is acquisition. So customers can use Whirlloop to onboard people faster, because I mean, you can run your marketing campaigns using WhatsApp and a much lower cost per lead, so much lower cost per acquisition than any other channel right now. So you can acquire customers better, and because you are providing them better support, you are available to them with much lesser friction. You are where they are, the retention becomes much higher. So you are acquiring. So because I mean, I always call it a leaky bucket, right? I mean, more people are coming in, but there is some which are dropping as well. So your idea is how to fill in more people in the bucket while reducing the leak as much as possible. So with Whirlloop, with automated support, with being present wherever your customers are, you are not just adding in more people in your bucket, in your business, but also making sure that they are having a good time. They are really enjoying your services and are your champions and not churning at all. So that to me is immense value, figuring out which channels that work for them and always remaining warm and close to them. That's what we as a business stand for, and that I think can be a great value for the businesses which are growing and want to stay close to customers.
Got it. Deepak?
Cool. I'll summarize it in 3 points. One is depending on which study you believe in or which industry you are in, a customer, a monetized customer or a paying customer is probably 5 to 25 times more valuable. And losing them because of support is something that like I will never encourage. Second bit is with some prior experience in managing support, I can tell you support for startups, especially tech startups, should scale like a tech function or a product function, not like an ops function. Think of it as a part of your revenue center, not your cost center. Third bit, good support definitely is correlated with good NPS. And you can find a lot of studies on this. NPS or your Play Store ratings or your like G2 or any other channels where you basically your customers rate you. And all that rating is basically very critical so that you have as less detractors as possible and have a higher NPS, which is basically again goes into your top of the funnel. Better your ratings are on any of the platform, higher your chances of leads converting. So those three simple things I want to like conclude with.
All right. So if I were to summarize, right, I would say a great support helps you not only to take care of your customers, but to grow your business as well at the same time. It's more of a it can be used as a strategic function if thought right. All right. Then this brings us to an end to this webinar. Thank you, Gaurav and Deepak, for a super session. And to all the attendees, I hope you had a great time and you took away some great insights. A quick note to all the attendees, we are giving away a limited time offer for all the startups what we're giving you is a free WhatsApp business for lifetime and free WhatsApp outbound messages for 6 months, right? However, with all the good things, there is also a time constraint to this. So if you can hit us up quickly, we would let you get started very fast on this. All right. You were saying something, Gaurav?
Yes, so I think there are two questions which we have missed, which are so
Yes.
probably
Yes.
we should cover them before,
Yes.
and we
So I
do
was,
have time, so we
yeah,
can just cover
I
those
was
as well.
just coming to the questions. So one of the questions, how can I integrate Whirloop into my WordPress site? I have a call center where they attend requests from a WhatsApp number. How can your platform come in to help here? Gaurav.
Just in terms of how you can integrate Whirloop on your WordPress site, quite simple. You can use a WordPress plugin to add Whirloop's web chatbot there. And there, when the people come and they talk, I mean, bot will automate whatever it can, and wherever it fails, it can either move people on WhatsApp number for you, or it can assign it to human support agents who are already there. I'm assuming because you have a call center, so they can then take over those conversations and do it. The other way can also be that you can start publicizing WhatsApp number as your support. So when people tap on it, or when people start talking on that number, they directly get connected to our automation systems and they solve it, and then your humans can take over. So quite a simple 2-minute integration if you want to integrate your WhatsApp.
All right. Then the second question, and I think Deepak, you can take this. Will this be a chatbot on WhatsApp or on a website or both?
So just I'll take 1 minute before I answer the exact question. We essentially are a let's say support automation company. Channels don't matter. So the answer to this is it can be on your website, it can be on your app, it can be on website on WhatsApp as well. So like channels, we provide a list of channels, and you can have this automated on any kind of channel that you are currently using as well.
Sure. All right. All right. So I think we're done with the questions. So I think we will now close the webinar. Thank you so much, Gaurav and Deepak, for your valuable time. And to all the attendees, do hit us up on marketing@whirloop.io. I have shared the email address on the chat itself. Additionally, we will be reaching out to all the attendees, and we will be giving you a recording of this webinar as well. So thank you, folks. Have a great day and a great evening, whichever part of the world you are in, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone.
So, thanks. Bye.
Right.